The event list provides a non-graphical editor for events in your logic project, both regions in the timeline and MIDI events within these regions. In this movie, we'll explore some of the uses for this unique editor. If you understand how it works, you can use the event list to precisely alter, augment, or create new MIDI events in your project. Notice in our project here, all regions are deselected. If not, you can click anywhere in the gray area in the main window to deselect all regions. Let's open the list editor from the top right toolbar. If I click that and make sure we're on the Event tab, I can see our events list. Now right now, because all regions are deselected, what we see is a comprehensive list of all the regions in the project and where they start. You can click right in the position here and move things around. So for example, if I click where it says Lead Synth 1 in the position, it starts at bar 5, as we can see here in the main window. If I click here and drag vertically, I can actually just move this region wherever I want. So this provides you access to all the regions. You can see where they start. For example, again, the classic electric piano on the track below that. Click on that, I can move that left or right just by moving up or down. And let's click one more time on the Lead Synth 1 region. Notice the event list updated. Now it's showing events that are inside this region, and we no longer see anything related to all the global regions of our project. Let's turn on Cycle by hitting C on our keyboard. We're going to loop this area of the song that the lead synth is playing on. Now watch the event list as I play this back. So the white line is currently where the playhead is, and it's going over a ton of information. It's really hard to follow and it's really hard to view, but you can see there's so much MIDI information in this region. Why is there so much? Well, one of the reasons is because we have some continuous controller messages. See these status messages called control. And remember, those are changing so much. These have a lot of nodes if we look at it in MIDI draw, if you remember from that movie. So there's a lot of control messages in there. The cool thing is we can actually filter some of these out to make it easier to view. So up at the top here, you can see if we wanted to change the filter and just sort of not look at the controller messages, we can just deselect that. Now we get a much simpler view because we have only the note values. Notice this region doesn't have any pitch bend controller messages or channel pressure or anything like that. Otherwise we would see it out here. So we could basically deselect all these as well and it won't change anything. But we are looking at notes. If we take this off, we see nothing. Now I'm going to play this again and we can follow the white status bar to follow just the notes and we can bypass the controller messages. So you can see the line is following each note, and when it takes longer, when a note's a longer duration, it takes a second to go through the note, but it's updating its status depending on where we are. So just like we moved regions around, we can go in here and say, oh, I want to move this note left or right, for example, pulling it up or back. And you can see it actually moved and updated in the region. So I'm going to hit Command Z to undo that. So just going from left to right, we have the position of each note, what type of MIDI message in it. In this case, we're looking only at notes. The MIDI channel. We also can see the actual note value. So this is E in the third octave. So that actually gives us a nice view into what note's being played. And then we have the val column. That's the velocity of the note. And then we have the length of the note. So all this information, which we can see in the piano roll editor graphically, Option, double click, I can open up this in the piano roll editor as we've done before. And we can look at these graphically. We can see the duration and what note it is. But in the event list, we can see all this information as text. I know it's a little boring to look at text, but it can be a very precise way to edit. We can also add notes here. So say, at the very end of this list, I want to add one more note. So I'm going to move down and select that last note, and I can click the plus button. Actually, by the way, it didn't add the note where I was in the event list. It added the note where the playhead was. So actually, let me hit undo one time. I'm going to go take the playhead to the end of the region. There you can see the white status bars there. And now if I hit the plus button, it adds a pretty generic note right out there. And now I can alter the parameters of this note. So I can say, I actually want this to not be a D, but double click in here and change it to E. I'm just typing in E1 on my keyboard. Actually, not E1. That's a little low. Let's make it E4. There we go. And I can change the velocity. Again, just dragging up or down. And I can change the length of the note, the duration. So maybe I want to make it 2 bars. I'll just go in here, type 2, space 0, space 0, space 0. That gives me a 2-bar note. So it's possible to add notes here. It's possible to reorder notes. It's possible to edit velocity information or even note information and hear it in real time. So even though it's not as graphically pleasing as the piano roll, the event list is a cool, precise way to really get in there and either edit your MIDI information, or if I deselect, again, I can go up a level here by this up arrow, and I can go up to the top level, and I can see all of the regions globally in my project. So the event list can come in handy for those times when you have to fix very specific MIDI events or move regions around. You should remember it's there, and you can use it as your discretion as you work in Logic Pro 10.